Distributed, our final day of our virtual summit for enterprise product teams. I'm excited to get started with our first session of the day, Jane from Intercom. To give a brief introduction of our first speaker, Jane is a product director at Intercom, where she co-leads their office, is responsible for their London PM and design teams, plus she leads their global research team. Jane joined Intercom a year ago after a wealth of product leadership experience across several industries. As many of you know, Intercom is renowned as being a product-led company and has a strong reputation for their product culture. Please welcome Jane. She's going to speak about how Intercom invests in this culture, and she'll share some of the things she's been inspired by since joining Intercom a year ago. Jane, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you very much for the intro as well. Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk to you today about building a positive product culture. And I'm really excited to join you all and hope this talk sparks some debate. So as you can see, the talk is called Building a Positive Product Culture. So before we start, here's a bit more info about me. I'm a product director here at Intercom and I co-lead our London office. I'm responsible for our London product and design teams, plus I lead our global research team. I joined Intercom about just over a year ago. I think it's a year and 2 weeks, after a really varied career that didn't start out originally in product. I first embarked on a career as a nurse, and then I was a journalist for 7 years. One of my highlights was that I got to interview Nelson Mandela. I first moved into product about 15 years ago when I was working at a British TV channel. I've since then worked in several TV channels here in Britain, ITV, UK TV and Channel 4, where I was leading editorial and product teams whilst working on some seminal programs and movements, including some of our big British chefs around helping us improve school dinners here in the UK. So Jamie Oliver's one of our top chefs, and he was working on a campaign to help us improve school dinners. And that's when I first started moving into product, building some of the campaign sites to support the TV programming. I then moved into e-commerce and I was leading product teams at the retailer Tesco, where I was focusing on selling personalised products, and then moved on to Moonpig, big personalisation giant here in the UK, and then Canon, the camera and printer company. So that's a quick intro to me. A quick intro now on Intercom, in case there's anyone who hasn't come across us before. We were founded 8 years ago to fundamentally transform the way businesses can talk to their customers. This is our mission statement. We're dedicated to making internet business personal. We're messaging first, and we've built out a suite of messaging tools for sales, marketing and support, all connected on one platform and built out with automation tools like bots and integrated with more than 100 apps. It's our mission to deliver faster growth through better relationships. So we believe that we can help our customers really connect deeply with their customers and engage with them at the exact moment they need help to make every single customer connection count for more. So that was a bit about Intercom. This is a quote to set up my talk now. This is a quote from one of our founders, Des Traynor. He argues that great companies consist of 3 ingredients: people, product, and profit. And if you can get the people right, you'll get the product. And if you can get the product right, you'll get the profit. So today I'm going to talk about what it actually means to get the people right and focus on how we can invest in product people and create a product culture that will help us deliver great product and set up our teams to succeed and build an environment where they feel inspired, enabled and encouraged to deliver the best work of their careers. And why would you bother with this? I mean, I think if you can get this right, you don't need as many perks. So it's a really strong way to compete and be a talent magnet. So it helps you be competitive. It also helps you attract the right people who really care about product, because at the end of the day, we want people who are going to care about the impact our product is having on our customers and our business, and it helps you attract those types of people. And also by placing a focus on this product-centric way of operating, you're building a stronger, hopefully more stable business, one that's customer focused and in a listening mode, focus on product and not just mainly focused on purely business outcomes. So it's critically important. And I think thinking about this product culture, I think Intercom is particularly well placed to share thoughts on this. It's been a product-led company from the start. Our founders were from product disciplines, design, product management, and they've always focused on having a vision and then enabling people to focus on building a product that delivers that vision. All of our R&D roles are prefixed with product, for example. So we have product designers, product engineers, product researchers, and we believe very strongly that product has to be the driving force at the heart of the company. And having worked at a lot of companies before, I can share that it does feel different here. And it feels lucky that we never have to explain the importance of our discipline and the importance of product management or research or analytics. It's a given. So when we think about product culture, there are lots of things that matter that we could talk about today. We could talk about how to get your hiring right, how to get your onboarding right, and how to work in strong cross-functional teams with sales and marketing. Or we could even talk about that old chestnut, how to move from outputs to outcomes. There's a long list of things we could talk about, but I didn't think it'd be that incisive or interesting or unique potentially. So I thought it'd be better for me to reflect on my first 12 months here at Intercom. I've been in various roles, as you heard from the intro, this is my 21st role, and I've been in lots of different cultures, good and bad. And I know Intercom has got a very strong reputation for having a robust product culture, and it was something I could see as an external person. And so I wanted to share what it feels like as an insider now that I have moved inside, and what struck me. What are the drivers that I think have made a concrete difference to this product culture that I can feel? So I've identified 4 things that I think are unique about how we do things here and that I think drive this culture. And I'm sharing them to act as a stimulus for the discussion later and to benefit you all. So the first point is around the space itself, so the way we treat our environment. And I've called this theme, Make It Feel Like Home. So like most product companies, we have squads. So we have product development teams made up of the standard makeup that most of you I'm sure have, with a PM, product designer, engineering manager, and then 5 or 6 engineers. And those teams own an area and they have authority to define the strategy for that area, and they're responsible for their own success to some extent. And we've created these teams so they're small and they can move quickly with autonomy and authority and accountability. Here's one of our teams at Christmas. So I'm sure this is a makeup that a lot of you have. We've also made sure that these teams are co-located because we believe that to help them drive this independence, we want them sitting together side by side on a daily basis. And if this isn't possible, we've ensured that they're set up to collaborate easily with Jamboards, Hangouts, flexible working, all fairly standard stuff in the tech space. But one of the things we've also done is got over a common frustration that teams feel, which is a limit to their space. Often you're struggling to find meeting rooms and you're trying to brainstorm or whiteboard, sometimes really important stuff like vision and strategic work, and you're scrabbling to find a space. So that's one thing we've specifically gone after here. And we've given every single team room at Intercom, every single team their own room. And they own this room and they own who can book it, and they take priority over the booking system for that room. When we first introduced this in our Dublin office, the plans for these rooms were slightly too big, but we didn't change it. We left them to be generous so that teams can run workshops and offsites in this space. And as well as giving the team this room, we've let them plaster it and make it their space. And we've empowered each team to choose how they want to work. So some of them are using tools like Trello and GitHub. Others are just using whiteboards like this to track their weekly goals and their cycle goals. So we've empowered each team to operate in the way that suits them best. And it's like we've said, you're a unit, here's your space, find out what works best for you, go make. And by doing that, we've given them a home where they can be themselves and they can look after each other. And we've extended this sentiment to our shared space too, making sure that everyone can input into how we make this space work better for us. and make it feel more like home, because we all know that when you're at home, you're more relaxed, and when you're more relaxed, you're more productive and focused. So I see this as one way that we've invested in creating the right environment to build our teams, our people, and our product culture. The second way I've called give away your best ideas. And this is something that has really struck me since I've joined. I'm sure many of you know about the Intercom blog, and many people maybe have seen some of our leaders and colleagues talk or listen to some of our podcasts. Because whoever we are at Intercom, at whatever level, in all roles across the business, we're constantly sharing. We're constantly sharing to reflect a principle that we have in our product and R&D teams, which is around shipping to learn. So we're ensuring that every time we build and launch something, we're focusing on extracting as much learning as we can from that. And this sharing more externally, this learning hasn't just been for our benefit, it's also been for the benefit of the rest of the industry. And we're all encouraged internally to share with our teams how we're doing things, what we've learned, and then we're encouraging everyone to write and speak publicly, and we're supporting them to do it well. So we're giving people time and help to grow their external career reputation. And many of the people who are writing on our blog had never written publicly prior to Intercom. And similarly, many of our speakers hadn't done it before. Here's one of our senior product designers speaking at a conference here in London. Our leaders have definitely shown the way here. So Des, one of our founders who I mentioned earlier, he wrote 93 of the first 100 posts on our blog. And so he led the way here, but it's not just our leaders doing this now, and everyone at Intercom has got an equal shot at it and will be supported to do it. So when we think about what to share, we think about what's going to be useful for our customers. So how we want to help them get the best out of our products and find out best practice from other customers and learn how other customers are using our products maybe in innovative ways that they could also try. And we're also publishing content around a broad range of topics that we think will be relevant for our customers, particularly as they're scaling. But we've also published content on product design and engineering, opening up the bonnet, if you like, and sharing what goes on under the hood. So why would you give away your best ideas? Why would you do that as a company? And why would you spend time and energy on encouraging your teams to share so widely and share so externally? Some of it's for the benefit of the community. So we're called intercomrades. Intercom uses the inter phrase a lot, and we're called intercomrades. But this isn't just for the common good of the community. There's definitely a benefit for us that's tangible. We're making sure that we feel relevant for our customers, and that must have an acquisition and engagement knock-on effect. But we're also making sure that we attract talent. And we know that a lot of people who are applying for roles and accepting offers from us, it's because of the blog and the reputation that they've got to understand through the blogging process. But there are three other things that I think make a difference when we think about this external view. The first is that you're helping your team build a stronger learning muscle. So for every individual at Intercom, we're encouraging them to learn more. So we're embedding that principle that we have around ship to learn, but we're also actively moving them from acting blindly and in a follow mode and being a little bit more purposeful and thoughtful about what they're doing. And we're bedding in a writing is thinking way of working and bedding in that principle, as I mentioned. The second thing we're doing is that we're sharing the learnings with everyone in the team and everyone at Intercom. There's nothing more interesting than when one of your colleagues has written about something that you've been involved in. So you're automatically more invested in finding out how they've positioned where we've got to. So you're indirectly up-leveling your whole team. And then thirdly, if you're giving away your best ideas, you're forcing the team and yourself to push on and find new ideas. You've got to come up with more. You've got to stay humble and grounded about what you know and stay curious and keep looking outwards. And that, I'm sure, is driving some of this product focus and this robust culture that I can see here. The third thing that I've been struck by here at Intercom is around our values, and in particular our value around humility. So it's a truth universally acknowledged that most companies have got shit values, and I'm sure a lot of you agree with me that often values feel generic or vague and they don't tend to mean much. And there are lots of often truisms like we commit to quality, and you can't ever imagine a company having the opposite value, so it feels slightly meaningless. But here the attention for our values is very much on behaviours, which are just as important as the results, and they really focus on how we deliver as much as what we're delivering. And by having defined values, we're weaving behaviours into everything we do, whether that's hiring, onboarding, or the way we review people at performance time. So they're helping us define success in terms of expected behaviour from members of the team and how you want people to act and communicate to treat each other. So values definitely have a value, and I'm sure it's the same for most companies that they focus on behaviour rather than driving results. But they're unbelievably difficult to define and rally teams around. I'm sure you've been through this before, but they're sometimes it's impossible to make them feel personal and relevant for the team and the company that you're in. I was in a training session a few weeks ago and was given a list of around 100 values and asked to pick my personal top 10. I don't know whether you've ever been through this exercise, but it's excruciatingly painful. And you're suddenly faced with making choices about X over Y. So here you can see there's a competition between honesty, humility, and hope. And I find these types of decisions really tricky. And the only way to feel like you're getting it right is if they feel true. And by true, I mean that they're locally meaningful and they're unique to either you or the company that you're in. So Intercom, our mission is to make internet business personal, as I mentioned, and our values have therefore got to feel very personal to reflect this core part of our DNA. And they've got to feel down to earth and accessible, but also aspirational at the same time. So here's one of my favourite Intercom values, which is around liking people who are confident yet humble. And I feel for me that this value has nailed something about the ethos that we have here at Intercom. So many companies might want people who are confident and maybe not worry too much about the humble part. But we're actively looking for people who feel like they don't know all the answers and can cope with uncertainty. And we're wanting people who can be honest about what they don't know and people who can be kind and open-minded, whatever the challenge they're facing. So when we're hiring, we're really drilling in to understand whether or not the candidates that we're talking to are resilient and how they operate when they feel challenged and how they cope with uncertainty or ambiguity or change. Because our mission and our business challenge, as I'm sure yours is tough and it's hard. And we're never going to be in a place where we're going to feel like we know all the answers. So we're actively looking for people who we think are going to cope with not knowing. Plus, we're looking for it in our day-to-day work, and we're looking for people who are arrogant or have a bit of a swagger about them. We're actively calling it out. So we're using this value to also help us point to behaviours that we might not want to encourage. And so by championing humility, we're enabling everybody in the team to be able to put their hand up when they don't know something or when they're uncertain and not feel judged by that. And for me, that's a reflection of something that feels unique here and something that we want to stay unique. And it's helped us embed this positive growth mindset in everything we do. The fourth thing that I've noticed is more around how we celebrate each other. And it's a way in which we boost our product culture, and it's an investment in the way we recognise each other. So each year at Intercom, everybody has an interversary. I told you we use this interterm. So everyone has an interversary, and for that interversary, we create these intercomics, and here's some examples that you can see. Ahead of time, the employee's manager gets together with the team without the employee, and they brainstorm what we know about that person and pull out some inside jokes that we know that we can reflect, that will be fun. But when we're looking for how we can acknowledge somebody's contribution over the year, so how they've helped us drive impact at Intercom, but also the ways that we've got to know them. That it's an amazing process that we go through. There's a big build up. It's one of the tightest, best kept secrets. that we have here, and we ideate. We're secretly collecting photos. People are going undercover to find out more about people. And then when the intercomic is released, we have a sharing ceremony where we hang it on a wall, so that every single day we're walking past this wall of these intercomics, like you can see here, and reflecting on what we know about each other. So why would we invest in this? Because it is an investment and it's quite an expensive thing to do. So firstly, I think it's a brilliant way for us to showcase the fact that fun is important to us. These are comics, and there's lots of inside jokes, as I mentioned, and lots of chats about them where people are sharing funny things about themselves to each other. Secondly, it's a highly visible way of celebrating each other. I've recently read Thanks for the Feedback. I'm sure many of you have too, and I found it really useful in how it splits feedback into 3 types. There's evaluation, coaching, and recognition. And usually there are all sorts of frameworks within a company around evaluation, for example, performance reviews, calibrations, promotions, that type of behavior. And coaching, often there's frameworks in place as well, things like design crits, product forums, mentoring setups potentially. But for recognition, there's often nothing at a company. But at Intercom, we have this incredibly visible recognition framework, and it's a way for us to very visibly celebrate each other and ensure that we're stopping each year to do that for every single employee. And thirdly, it's a really brilliant way of celebrating how we're all different and we're all unique. We have this wall of intercomics in every single office, and it's a way of celebrating our diversity and ensuring that everyone feels valued for who they are and included within our culture. And finally, it's a daily reminder of the importance that we place on our people. These intercomics are right in front of you as you're in the centre of the office. And it's a daily reminder as you walk past that it's the people that matter. And going back to the beginning of the talk, that brings me full circle around to that great quote at the start, that if you can get the people right, you'll get the product. And if you can get the product, you'll get the profit. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jane. I know I learned a lot. I really appreciate your time. It was a great presentation.
Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you, everybody. Bye.